Right, we need to talk about basically electrics and electrical safety. Your van may have been built for 6 months, it may have been built for 12 months, it may have been built for a couple of years, but I will guarantee there's one thing that you've never done which you need to do every single year, which is go in and check your electrical connections. Now, we've got friends who have recently just had their van burnt out. It wasn't anything they had done, it wasn't anything that was attributed to what they had put in the van. It was purely just a freak accident. It was just something that just happened, and it can just happen. But there's also things that you can do to basically help your van along, because vans move, electrics move, electric cables move, electric connections move. So what you need to do is you need to dive into your electric system and you need to check everything over. All you're going to need is a screwdriver and maybe one 10mm socket, and that will be enough. Right, we're going to get into ours, we're going to check it all over, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So behind this panel is a load of fuses. Now, if we drop down the panel, you can see there's a load of fuses on there, and then there's also a load of fuses inside there. Right, so inside this panel you can see that there's a fuse box there that's got a main cable coming from the actual fuse box in the boot, and then it feeds off to things like the lights underneath there, it feeds off to the USBs, it feeds off to the USBs that are in there for other things. And then you need to take your screwdriver and you need to check every single one of these screws and that make sure that they are all tight, literally just by taking your screwdriver on, giving it a tight, make sure it's all tight. And then check the actual cables as well. Check the cables are all tight, they're all inside the actual cable connectors that fasten to the actual board. Take your 10mm screws and check these are all nice and tight as well, but mainly check that these are all tight. Now, the problem with connections that are in there is when you are traveling, the vibration of the actual van may loosen the little screws that are in there, which is not good, because what that does is, because the electrical cable is bouncing around on the screw, it's arcing and it could short out, it could cause a fire. Yes, you do have the safety, the fact that you've got a fuse in there that is then fused back from the fuse box to the actual fuse boxes there, so it's doubly fused. But it still may not stop a fire, it still may not stop a short. Just because you got fuses in, you can still have problems. Believe me, it does happen. So once you've checked all your electrics in there, make sure it's all safe, move on to the next cupboard. Now, granted, this control panel is just an information control panel. Basically, it tells us how much gas we've got, how much water, we can turn the actual pump off. It's got the Victron BMV, it's got the on and off for the inverter, it tells us our solar, and then it also has the power bank for the actual battery charge if one were hooked up on mains, so we can actually charge up the batteries. Yes, they're mainly going to be data cables. So inside there's not actually much to check. It's mainly just data cables going to the controllers, but we do have some cables that go to the actual gas monitor, and we do have some cables that go to the water monitor as well. So just basically getting these out and checking that all these cables are fine, there's no bare wires showing, there's no electrical cables showing, just having a look and making sure that it's all tight, it's all safe, it's all secure, these are all in, that is good enough. So you can have a little bit of peace of mind to make sure that all this is tidy, because you don't know if things are going to get worn, things are going to move around when you're actually in transit as well. So just taking it off and having a look is a good practice to do. So now that we're safe and now that I'm happy with that, get this control panel back on, get it screwed up, and then let's get into the boot. Our MPPT controller for the solar does have cables going in the bottom, so we need to check all the cables that are going into the bottom are all nice and tight. Then we need to check that all the actual cables, the grommet screws, are all nice and tight, holding them all in. They all seem fine, they all seem no problem at all. Got a little bit of a twist on that one, but they're all nice in, safe and secure. Then you can move over to your inverter. We have to change our inverter because the inverter that we did have was a modified sine wave. The problem with the modified sine wave is it wouldn't run hair dryers, Macs, stuff like that. So we had to upgrade it to a pure sine wave inverter. So I know all the connections on that in the bottom are all tight and secure because it was only fitted a couple of weeks ago. Then you're going to move over to your main electrical system. exactly the same as before. We've got breakers in there, we've got battery isolators, and we've got fuse boxes as well. Take these covers off the fuse boxes and then go around every single screw that goes into the fuse boxes as well, and make sure every single one of them are nice and tight. Make sure all the cables that are going into them all look and feel secure and safe. Get your 10mm screwdriver, get your 10mm socket onto the actual connections of the earth, and make sure that the positive and the negative are all tight. So go through every single one, just double checking that nothing has come loose, double checking that they're all safe, they're all fine. Then move on to your breakers. So our breakers for our fuse box, which is there, and then our breakers for our second fuse box, which is there. Again, if you've got more than one fuse box, which we have because I went mad and fused everything, make sure all these are all safe and secure, and make sure that the actual circuit breakers, the 10mm but nuts that are on top of them, are all tight. So I'm going to get a 10mm spanner and then check these two now. So once you've got your spanner, always remember as well that these connections are live. You can isolate them if you want. I don't feel the need to right now because I know I'm not going to touch anything else with the spanner. So you can get your spanner on, and then see there's a little bit of movement on that one. So that has come loose in time, or maybe I didn't actually physically tighten it up properly when we were installing it. Who knows? But the fact that I could get a couple of turns on that shows me that that is now a lot safer than it was. So we'll do the bottom one. Undo the cap on the bottom one. Don't forget you are connecting to a live. Now we got quite a lot of turns on that one, so again, that could have been me when you're installing it. When you are running through van builds and when you're doing them, you do tend to rush, and you do need to take more time on doing these things. Right, this bottom one, the 200 amp breaker, is for the inverter. So again, just give that. Surprised on how easy and how much turn we're getting on these actual bolts. Do the back one. Again, taking care, making sure you don't touch anything. That is pretty tight. So the two actual breakers, we have found that you can get a few turns. Let's try the top one for the top fuse box. Not much on that one. Couple of turns on that one. But it just means now that we know these are all safe. Right, now to go to the actual connections on the fuse boxes themselves. They are 8mm connections, so your 10mm that you've used on your breakers are not going to fit onto them. So let's check them over with an 8mm. Two turns on that one, the top earth. Two turns on that one, the top live. Nothing on that one. And let's check the bottom live. Nothing really on that one. So we've gone through all the earths, we've gone through all the positive connections where they're being fused, we've gone through the actual points of entry for the actual cables, which come in positive and negative on each fuse board, positive and negative on there, and we've gone through all the earths and all the lives on every fuse as well. Again, just checking that each one is nice and tight and nothing has come loose. You can then check your fuse boxes if you want. Breaker works, and for the actual inverter, breaker works. Then cover your fuse boxes back up. So we know that the fuse boxes are all nice and tight, safe and secure. We know that the breakers are all nice and tight, safe and secure. We can close our panel over now, and in our case, ours locks, just so nothing can be damaged. Right, so once we've checked all the fuse box connections, we're going to go through every single battery connection on the positive and the negative on every single battery. Make sure they're all nice and tight. Make sure all the cables that are going into them, if you're using these block connectors, make sure all the connections that are going in with the Allen keys are all tight. Make sure the battery connections, they're all tight as well. Make sure everything's in good condition. Make sure there's no build-up of, like, you know, crap on any of the actual terminals. Make sure there's no stuff like that going on, and make sure they're all clean, tidy, neat, safe and secure. And then once you've done your batteries, you've done your fuse boxes, you've done your inverter, whole system checked. That took probably take you, if you spend a good hour doing it, you're going to be safe. Right, back onto the inverter.
The inverter.
The inverter. Now, we did originally fit this boy, which is a one.
A what?
I don't know. Krieger? Something like that. 2000 watt modified, emphasising on the word modified, sine wave. Great inverter if you just want to have an inverter. If you want to actually use it for something,
not so good.
No,
not so good.
Not so good at all.
Why is that?
Why is it not good? Because it's modified. Modified sine wave, the electrical current goes up in blocks like this, and just don't buy one. Just modified sine wave, don't bother. Just save your money. Or if you've got to buy a modified sine wave inverter, take your money, get a lighter and set fire to your money, because it's just not worth it. It's just a load of crap, not worth it, rubbish. So we bought a pure sine wave one, 2000 watt inverter, mainly because somebody needed to use a hairdryer. Also, the modified sine wave wouldn't actually it wouldn't power max, would it? No.
And if you're using your Mac while you're on the road, you know that it needs charging somehow.
Yeah, it's new technology doesn't like modified sine wave. It likes pure sine wave. So let's do the hairdryer test. Will a pure sine wave hairdryer? No. Pure sine wave hair. Will a pure sine wave
inverter
run
a hairdryer?
But not any old hairdryer. You know, some people like a box standard basic hairdryer. Emma has
a Dyson hairdryer.
Which pulls off around about 1800 watts of power.
Yes.
We've got a microwave oven in the van which uses 600 watts of power. Emma's hairdryer.
No, in my defence, even a cheaper hairdryer didn't work on the old inverter. We did try it.
Yeah, we did. We actually tried a couple of hairdryers, like a cheapy one, a middle of the range one, and the more expensive one, which is the Dyson hairdryer.
Which is my hairdryer, which I love.
It's not mine, is it? Let's be honest.
Right, so let's test this then. So I'm going to plug hairdryer in at the wall, and then we're going to go up to our inverter switch, turn that on. Are you ready? It works.
Does it work on full power?
Yeah. There you go. That's the boy. Yeah.
As well as having the inverter, which is great, and it will run basically everything we plug it into it, don't we?
Yeah.
We don't actually use the inverter a great deal, and we don't, do we? We just don't. We don't really use the inverter a lot. We use this more than anything. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, it's another video on the Power Oak. Well, no, it's not. It's a video on electrical safety, and I'm going to tell you about the Power Oak. Eh?
Ah.
Do we use it?
You do a lot.
I do a lot. Do we use it more than the Jackery?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This little Power Oak AC50, we do use it a lot, and I'm talking every time we go out in the van we use this, because I find charging the MacBook Pro off the actual Power Oak is better than using your van batteries, because you can plug this into solar outside, recharge it back up. It's great. It's got a built-in pure sine wave inverter, not modified. It's got two outlets which will give you 300 watts of AC power. It's also got 4 USBs, and it's also got, which is more importantly for me, the USB-C, which is what we charge the Macs off. We just plug the USB-C in it, and it does last a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially with the solar panels.
Yeah, with the solar panels, you know, we keep it topped up, we keep it running, it's fine. In my opinion, the Jackery versus the Power Oak one, for me, the Power Oak one just works better. You know, it's a better design, it's got a little light on the back, it's got all the ports on your front. The Jackery one doesn't seem to have as much ports on the front as the actual Power Oak one. You've got, you know, you can charge your phone just literally by putting your phone on the top of it. It's wireless charging on the top. Another thing I like about it as well is the collapsible handles. The other one, bit of a pain, isn't it?
Yeah, you tried to take the other one apart, didn't you?
No.
Yes, you did.
Me?
Yes.
I'm not guilty, Your Honour.
I think you'll find you are.
No, I think there's only Liam has got photographic evidence of me. Maybe, possibly, Bruce might have one. Yeah, anyway, no, it didn't happen, you know. But the Power Oak, this boy, we find a lot better than the Jackery one.
Didn't we use this to watch a match off as well?
Yes, when we were out with the travel trolls, this Power Oak powered the actual TV. It powered the power bank for the actual nothing, because there was no power bank, because this was the power bank. Yeah, it charged it ran the TV and everything off it for the entirety of the match. We had our phones plugged in it, we were using a light on the back of it, and we still didn't use 20% of the battery, and we were watching TV for like 4 hours.
Oh, a good while, wasn't
it? It was a good 4 hours, and this thing just lasted. It lasted very well. So compared to the Jackery one, sorry Jackery, Power Oak wins.
What was that?
I was pushing my glasses on.
Okay.
But yeah, again, Power Oak. So inverters, if you're going to get an inverter, don't bother getting a modified sine wave.
No, go for the pure sine wave.
Go for the pure
Much better. Utilise your appliances. Just on that as well, when you are using your inverter in your van, just make sure your appliances that you're using are on a higher wattage than what your inverter will let you use.
So just be aware of what appliances you are using on the inverters compared to what wattage the actual inverter will put out. So be mindful of, you know, looking at stuff and going, okay, this draws 1,000 watts, I've got a 2,000 watt inverter, I'll be fine.
Which is how we found out about the hairdryer as well, wasn't it?
Exactly how we found it. We didn't realise how much power a Dyson hairdryer pulled off, which was more than the national power grid can supply. Really?
Who bought me the hairdryer?
Some arsehole. That'll be me.
Yeah, but you...
No, I'm an arsehole.
No,
I am.
He's a bit grumpy. We've been a bit poorly, so...
She's just got over the COVID. I had the COVID, but you don't need to know about that. We're well. We mightn't look the greatest, but hey, not a fashion show, is it? It's just purely information for you guys, because we love you, and we hope you love us back. And if you do love us, subscribe. Loads of people are watching, not subscribing.
It happens.
Maybe we need to go to Europe. If we go to Europe, we'll get loads of subscribers.
Might too.
Could buy them anyway. People do that. People buy subscribers. Why? What? Subscribers and views. Pathetic. Anyway, right. Go and check your electrical system. Go through all your electrics. Make sure that all your screws are tight. Make sure all your nuts are tight. You've just seen me.
Fiddling with your screws and nuts.
I was in the back messing with my nuts.
Yeah. A regular occurrence.
Yeah, I mess with my nuts daily.
Yes.
But to be fair, I've never actually messed with my nuts and got that much turn on them.
Interesting. Was it a big turn?
Yeah, but you've only small nuts. So, yeah, go through it all. It will help you, and I'm not saying that it's going to stop any sort of vehicle fires. I'm not saying you're going to avoid it, but it will give you a little bit more of a better chance at spotting potential problems with your electrical system that you may not know about. You know, you may not know that something's loose, something's arcing, something will spark, wires will get hot, maybe something will fail, maybe something might go on fire. If you can check all this sort of stuff before it happens, it's going to be a big bonus to you. Vehicle fires are a real thing. as I say at the beginning of the video, one of our friends has just lost their van to a vehicle fire. Nothing to do with them, nothing to do with anything they done. It was a freak accident. But you put your heart and soul into these vans, and for something that you could possibly avoid, check your electrical system.
I agree.
You can do the next one.
The next electrical system
Yeah, you
check.
can do the next check.
Would that make me a qualified habitation check person?
No, but it'll give you more chance to mess with nuts.
Ah.
And on that note, see you soon. Whatever you do it well. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Love you. Love you. Love you too.
Aww.
It's like I don't want to go. It's like I haven't picked the camera up for weeks.
You haven't?
No, we haven't. We're still ranting and raving. People have obviously left now because they're like, oh, they're going now. They're just pissing off. No, we're still here. I'm annoying you. The next video we're going to do is going to be on how much money we make on YouTube.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. But the girls over at Camper Vibe have just done one of them as well. So go and check it out. Camper Vibe.